Hi, everyone. So I know last time I was on here saying I'm not very nice on day 3 of like Alicia being sick with something. Like I usually am just like over it, and I know I was feeling that way when I was on here last time. I'm not sure if I clarified that I do in fact continue taking care of her after 3 days. I don't just stop because I'm done. Like, I feel like I want to just be done, but I don't stop. So, just in case anybody's out there thinking, what a fucking bitch, she only takes care of her wife for 3 days. No, I do it the whole time. But I wanted to get on here today and say that, it's hard to take care of somebody when they're sick, especially with COVID. And I don't want anybody out there to think that I'm trying to compare this to, like when you have to take care of somebody long term, day in and day out, like people who have long-term illnesses. I'm not trying to compare it to that because I already know that's super hard for people to do. And all the time that they sacrifice and the worry, like I'm not comparing myself to that. I'm just comparing myself to like maybe the typical person who takes care of a sick spouse. I shouldn't say that again. Sick spouse. Okay. I forget that I'm recording sometimes because I say this shit out loud all the time. But anyways, where was I? Okay, so she's actually doing a little bit worse this time than she was 3 years ago when she caught COVID the first time. And her fog is so bad that she thinks she's doing better this time. And she's not. And she thinks that she's improving quicker. And that's like the total opposite. So I don't know what fucking fairyland she's living in, but she's not doing better than she did the first time. So it just kind of confirms to me, at least, that COVID is still definitely something to be like wary of, and smart about, like, because it still kills people. People are still dying from COVID, and it's been 3 years, and this time around, Alicia is experiencing it worse than she did the other time. And I know that everybody is different and has their own symptoms and can recover quicker or slower. I'm just going off of how she was the first time compared to now. And this is like, what's today? 10, 11, 12, like day 11 or 12 maybe, of her. I mean, she's not contagious anymore, but it's been like that long since she got it. And the first several days, like the first few days, she was in the house and I could keep tabs on her. I could keep, like, if she wasn't drinking enough water, I would notice and I would bring her more water. And it's harder to do when she's next door at Janice's house pet sitting, because so far she's not meeting her water goal. And by her water goal, I mean my water goal for her. Ugh. And I'm like, dude, you need to drink water because it helps just flush crap out. It just will help with everything all around. You just got to keep drinking water. Like, I sound like a weirdo whenever she's sick. Sorry. I just like water, water, water. Or if she's like, I'm hungry, but I don't know if it's hunger or thirst. I'm like, it's probably thirst. Try water. Like, I don't know. I drink water all the time. I don't know. I just think that for me, it's always helped improve everything quicker. And I never understood why people didn't really drink water at all, because they didn't even function properly. Like, their reactions were slow. Like, I've seen people like just live off of coffee, and they'll say like maybe they'll drink a cup of water out of the sink when they go home. These are people I used to like work with. I don't know how they stayed alive all those years, barely drinking water. I'm not sure. But anyways, so I'm not feeling today how I was feeling last time. Today, I'm feeling like I'm worried. I don't think that she's going to take like a turn for the worse or anything like that, but she rarely gets sick. And like, especially it being COVID, oh my God, because you just never know what's going to happen. And so, Sorry, I'm just kind of like not talking properly. Like, I have these thoughts that I'm just going to say, because my mind just goes to these places when stuff like this happens. So like I did her laundry today, and when I went to bring it over, she was taking a nap because she wasn't in like the main part of the house. So I left the laundry in the living room, and I had the thought of, I hope she's not dead. Like, what the fuck? I mean, because I don't know, like she's doing a lot of sitting and she's been getting up and being a little bit more active lately, but like I always worry about like you're going to get blood clots if you sit so long. Like I'm just like, I don't want this to happen, and you need to be moving around a little bit more. And so like I had the thought of like, is she dead in the bed with like blood clots or something? And why isn't the dog barking? Is the dog dead too? And like the cat, I don't know where the fuck that cat was, but I would have these thoughts, and they were legitimate concerns. I would say out of 100%, I maybe 75% concern over that, if I'm being honest. However, it wasn't enough to get me to go back to the bedroom, because I was like, if this is true, I don't think I want to find her right now. So let me go back home. If I don't hear from her in like 3 or 4 hours, then I've prepared myself that she could be dead. So when I go back over, and if she is, at least I expected it. Like, this is so fucked up. I can't help it though. I can't help it. Like when she would get regular sicknesses, like the flu, years ago, she recovered pretty quickly. Like she's not usually somebody that gets sick frequently, but like COVID just does a number on people. And she still has very, very low energy. She can barely walk a couple of laps in Janice's backyard. And Janice, her backyard is like a decent size, but it's not like that big. And she gets tired after that. She still is congested and having a hard time breathing, like through her nose. But she is improving in other ways. It's just some of the stuff just lingers. And then like you think it goes away, and it does, like a symptom. Like what went away? Like body aches went away. Like she had it for a day or two, and then like it went away days ago. And now all of a sudden she has body aches today. And I'm like, yeah, like it's just weird how COVID affects people. And I say it's hard taking care of her because not necessarily because of the tasks, but more so because of just like where my mind goes. Like I worry. I try to go into planning mode and prepare for things. And like it doesn't help that the book that I'm working on currently is about how to survive pancreatic cancer. So the book is well written, and it's like, it's a good book, but I'm like, I caught myself today, like planning for what if she were to get cancer? This is what I need to do. This is what these people are doing. So like, I got to make sure I do all these things too. And like, I caught myself like planning for the possibility of cancer someday. And I don't know, like, do you guys think this way too? Like, this has got to be autism. I don't know, like, why my mind just goes there. I can't control it. These thoughts just come up. It's not like I'm like, let me think of worst case scenario. Go. I don't do that. They just come into my head. And so I was like, okay, let's just take one thing at a time. Right now it's COVID. Cancer will maybe come later. Hopefully not. Like, and I'm not trying to make light of cancer. I'm not. It's just, I don't know. I feel like life is hard enough for me. And I don't mean that in like a victim way. I just mean being autistic is not always easy for me. It's actually very hard. I like being autistic, but I don't really care for the regular anxiety, or I don't like that I can't talk properly, that I just can't socialize like a regular person can and find that easy to do. Money is hard for me. Like all the stuff I've been talking about up to this point that has been like difficult, I'm sure you guys can relate to. So on top of that, like having to take care of somebody, I have to make sure that I am doing better with the stuff that I already have a hard time doing. And also because like I don't know how to say it properly, but I have to make sure I'm on my game with my shit so that I can keep making sure I'm good for her. You know what I mean? And it's hard because I have to pay more attention to finances and like the budget and stuff because, you know, her mind is not about like thinking about real things. She did do a budget the other day for the next couple of weeks, and I was like, I'm surprised you did that, but that's as far as it got. And she even told me, you need to double check my math because I have COVID brain right now. So she's trusting me with like the fucking math and the money, and I'm like, oh God, I hope I don't fuck it up. And we did Instacart because I couldn't go get groceries because there was a chance I would be positive. So that would be dumb. So we did Instacart, and that made getting groceries easier. It was one less thing I had to worry about going out and doing. It's not like I'm really doing a whole lot, if that makes sense. I mean, I'm task oriented, so if you need some cereal, I will get that cereal for you. You want me to make you some homemade soup, which I did yesterday, I will make you homemade soup. I will come over just to give you a hug and go back home, like anything. I don't mind because like I've been on my ass for days doing these books. I need to get up anyways, you know, and walk around and do shit because like I've been slacking on that too. You know, apparently like this house gets maintained very well when both of us are living here, and since she's not, I'm just like letting some stuff go. Oh my God, like stuff I wouldn't usually do. So then that makes me think like, am I keeping the house clean for me or for her? Maybe I'll think about that at another time. But yeah, like I just worry. And she didn't die, by the way. She called me. So a couple hours later, but you know, sounds kind of harsh just leaving when you think your wife might be dead, but I don't know how to explain this thought process and the way I just, you know, I was standing there and I was like, if she's dead now, there's nothing I can do about it, so I'll check later. Like, I don't know why I was thinking that way. Oh my God. And I wasn't even like panicking or anything like that. It's just sometimes I feel like the longer it goes on that I have to take care of her, the less I tap into my emotions because I'm reserving energy for the tasks. You know, doing the laundry and making the food. And by the way, I forgot to say last time, I had stopped doing a lot of that stuff because her class schedule was lighter this past semester. So she was doing some of that again. Because I used to do that for her regularly. But anyways, just in case anybody was wondering. But yeah, I'm constantly like, not constantly. I would say 80% of the day, I'm like thinking about like, what is she doing over there? You know, she better be drinking water. She better be moving around. I hope she's listening to her body and like sleeping when she's tired and not trying to fight it. Like, you know, like, and there's an added element of concern because of COVID, because it's so serious. And I'm not trying to be like a doomsday person, you know, because like I knew somebody that got COVID a few weeks ago and like they barely had any symptoms. So I know it's different for everybody, but you know, Alicia's got a lot of shit on her plate. She just finished the semester with classes and she had to do that while she was sick. And she's got work piling up because she's not there. And she's got like her therapy and her mental health stuff, just like I do. And we have, you know, there's just a lot of stuff that she's got going on. So like for this to be on top of that, I just worry for her because I know how I would feel with all of that going on. But then I also know that I tend to let things get to me quicker than she does, I guess. I don't know. but it's hard to take care of her and not know, like, when are you going to get better? Are you going to have long-term symptoms from this? And then I'm trying to figure out, like, this sounds kind of robotic, but I try when I'm there to, like, remember to go sit next to her on the couch, because Janice has, like, a couch and a few recliners, and so I sit in the recliner next to the couch, because whenever I sit, and even if it's her, anywhere, like, in the house, I'll sit away from her. In public, I'll sit next to her, but I don't know what it is about. I always sit away from people, and her included. And so then, like, she had mentioned, like, it'd be nice if you could come over and, like, sit by me, and, if I could have some comfort that way. And I was like, oh, why didn't you just say that? Why didn't I fucking think of it? And then, like, so I go and I sit next to her, and I'm thinking to myself, this is what normal people do. Like, they don't even think twice when I say normal, you know what I mean? But they don't even think twice about it. They just go do it. They give that hug, they go sit next to that person, and I feel like that switch gets turned off or dimmed at the very least when, we're so far into, like, her not feeling well. If that makes any sense. And then, like, I have a lot of stuff I have to keep track of, like, bill-wise, and upkeep with the house, taking care of the pets, making sure she's, like, Alicia's being fed and watered too. Like, it's just so hard, because there's a lot that I can't control. And I think that's probably what's at the issue, or what's at the core of it, is I can't control a lot. And I don't like the unknown. I like I would like for her. This is ideally what I would like to have happen. Here's this bottle of water. Drink this right now. I'll be back in about an hour with another bottle of water. You're going to drink that too. You're going to eat this soup now. Like, I would keep, like, pumping her full of water and broth. Like, and then making her take multiple showers a day to, like, have some temporary relief from the congestion. And I know that's not how that works. And you can't do that to people. And nobody would want that done to them. But I can't, and as much as I would like to, I can't. So I have to just accept that she's going to do things the way that she wants to do them. And sometimes she'll listen to me, and sometimes she won't. And I have to be okay with that, because, she's her own person, and she's in her body living with COVID. I'm not. So that's really hard, in not knowing when she's going to get better, or when she's going to feel like she can go back to work. It's not like she's bedridden, but, like, she came over here a couple times today. The first time she came over to give me a haircut, because I asked Charles, like, do you feel up to it? If you don't, that's fine. And she said she did. So she came over and she gave me the haircut, and then wasn't ready to walk back over for, like, an hour, because she's like, I really have to muster up the energy. And so whenever she does things like that, I nag her, and I'm like, are you feeling any worse? How's your breathing? Is that okay? Do you feel like you have a temperature? And I just run down symptoms to see if she's got them or not, because it's hard for me to imagine what it must feel like to have, like, no energy. I've never felt like I've had no energy. Like, I could be laying still, but my mind is bouncing and bouncing and bouncing and wanting to do something. So, like, I don't know what that feels like to have it be so hard. Like, I know what it feels like to have to push myself, like I was talking about a few weeks ago, just to push myself to do, like, some stuff sometimes. But I have never felt the way that she's feeling, and I don't understand it, and I wish I did. And so, like, I have no idea if it's normal for her to be, like, that tired over a week later, just from walking a couple houses down. I don't know. So then, like, I start a whole new bout of worrying. And I don't know. This has just been, like, a week and a half of anxiety, hoping she's not dying. Like, I don't know. I'm laughing, but like I legit like half believe these things I tell myself, like that come into my head. I'm like, yep, that could be a possibility. Yep, she was sitting too long. Maybe she did get blood clots. Like I just ruminate sometimes. And I know it's not healthy. And trust me, I would stop it if I could, but part of it I just some of it feels beneficial for me because it helps me plan. Like it makes me think about, okay, well, if this were to happen, maybe I should try that. And I don't know, like I just feel better when I have some sort of a plan laid out in my head. So that if something were to arise, like I would know exactly what I should be doing. And I know that that's an autistic thing because I've heard so many of us talk about this exact thing. It's just the planning and the preparation because we don't do well with unknowns. And so the best you can do with an unknown is to prepare for other unknowns for the unknown. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if I just made sense, but it's just you have to prepare. If something were to happen, what are you going to do? And I feel like I need to think this way because I don't do well with something just being dropped in my lap and then I have to immediately like do something with it and fix it, or you know what I mean? Like I need to process stuff and be prepared for it. And I feel like, I don't take this the wrong way. I don't mean this like negatively, but I feel like in some ways, being autistic has some disadvantages. But I also think that not being autistic also has disadvantages. Does that make sense? I don't know. But I just feel like being autistic, it makes things like doubly hard. And when you factor in having to care for another person and make sure that they're like getting better and doing the things they need to do, and then preparing for like, well, like in the event that this happens, I got to call this person or I got to know how to drive to this place. And like I do things like that because I have to. It makes me feel better because these are things that won't be unexpected and I don't want them to ever happen. You know what I mean? Like I don't want her to get cancer, the kind of crap my mind tells me that could happen. But that's just life. Like I still don't understand how people, like in that book I was reading, one of the people is like 65 and his wife was like, if I die, like you still got at least 20 more years. So like you should find somebody else to like be with. And I don't know. I don't understand how people assume that people are just going to live that long. I never got that. Like, well, you'll die before me because you're older. That's not how it works. You could get fucking, I'm just going to say it because everybody else hit by a bus. Yeah. Or anything. I was reading an article where a biker got hit and killed by one of the cops around here, like the other day. Like anything can happen. So I don't sit here and plan for like 50 years from now. Like, what are you gonna do when you retire? And like, I don't care. I'm not thinking about that. That's a lot. Like, I'm not thinking about that. What was I just saying? Planning for retirement. I know. Say hello. Want to say hi? Say hi. You don't want to say hi? Okay. You're shy. Sorry for all the like tangents and crap. But anyways, so like I think if this episode made any sense, great. Basically, I'm just trying to say, I'm just wanting to say out loud that it's hard to take care of Alicia when she's not feeling well for this long. And it's not her fault. I just need to say it out loud because I don't like saying things like that out loud. And I'm trying to get better with it. Like, because I have a hard time asking for help too. And then I tell her to do it. And I don't do it that much either. So I need to work on that. And I know that she'll get better. what it seems to be looking like, so I'm just going to go with that, that she's getting better, and that, maybe even a week from now, she'll be like 50% better. Who knows? But in the meantime, it's like, I wish I could be doing more. Like, I don't know, is there stuff I should be doing that a person taking care of somebody would do, but that I'm not, because I'm not thinking about it? Like the whole sitting next to her and just being, next to her physically and providing comfort that way. Like, I'm not like a touchy person, so like that really isn't anything that crosses my mind naturally. Even with my own wife, apparently. Sometimes I think to do it and I want to, and then other times when I should be providing her with physical comfort, because that's like her love language is touch. I just, my mind doesn't think that way. And then when she's like, can you come sit next to me? And she wasn't making me feel bad. I was just like, fuck, man. Like, I don't want to always be concerned with like doing things. I also want to like be there for her emotionally too. And I find that hard to do when she's sick for days. And the only other thing I have to compare it to is COVID from the first time, because she's never been sick for this long with other things. She's usually better after like 4 or 5 days. Not that like time limits need to be put on everything, but if you've listened to my other episodes, you know that I really try to like live my life by time. And I wish everybody else would too, but they don't. But I feel better now that I said this out loud, and I still feel a little bit embarrassed because I'm not even like, I feel like I'm still trying to work on that mindset of just accepting how I feel and that being okay, and not feeling like, well, I should be feeling this way, or why don't I? Like, I still get stuck in that way of thinking. Because, I don't know, like, I don't know how to say this. I don't like feeling like I'm the only one responsible in a situation, if that makes sense. Maybe you should turn that into a drinking game, if that makes sense. No, don't do it if you're in recovery. But anyways, I don't know. I think I'm talking about nothing now. But I don't know. Nothing bad is happening, by the way. Like, I feel great. Might not sound like it, but I feel great. What was I gonna say? Yeah, I think that's about it. Sorry for the pauses and being all over the place. The point of this simply was to just admit that, like, this is hard, and that I feel bad for saying that, because she's the one having to deal with the worst of it. She's the one dealing with COVID, and I'm over here like, it's hard to like look after somebody and to like, be there emotionally for them. Like, it sounds kind of like very tiny in comparison to what she's going through. But I also have to remind myself that like, these things are real for me. And it's okay to feel like anxious. It's okay for things to be a bit uncertain. I don't have to plan for every scenario. I can sit here and say this shit all day long, but do you think I'm going to stop doing it? Probably not. I don't know. Okay. That's all I have. This was not a planned episode. I actually just thought about this like an hour ago when I was just sitting here after she left for the night. I sent her away with ketamine. I don't know if I mentioned that she can get ketamine now, like in the mail, and she can take it daily. Like, there's microdosing that people do with ketamine. So that's been interesting. And she hasn't been taking any since she's gotten COVID, which makes sense. And so tonight after dinner, I was like, why don't you just take some ketamine with you? I was like, let it take you someplace nice and forget about COVID for a little bit. So I think that's what she's doing over there now. So, but thank you for listening. I hope this was relatable. If there's anybody out there that feels these things or thinks these things, I do too. And I would sure love to hear if you do. Okay. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.